Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the physical Piccolo and his Extreme Z battle that has come to Dbz Dokkan Battle Global with the, first part of the Aim for the Top campaign. So this is a Extreme Z battle that's come to both Global and JP. And in terms of the difficulty, it is relatively difficult, or at least I would say it can take a while. Extreme Strength type and Power Absorption type category units are going to be your number one options here. Now, I'm going to be building a team, generally speaking, that should be somewhat accessible to most players without using any LRs or anything like that. Now, Piccolo's Extreme Z Awakening itself is pretty good, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video, but I think overall they did just enough to make him a super fun unit to utilize within kind of the current meta. How he'll age is going to be difficult to say, but I think as a unit he still looks like he's got some really nice changes, and Piccolo is always a good unit to run because of his utility, and he just has a amazing amount of utility still. So Piccolo looking really solid. At least, for me, I think he looks pretty good. And yeah, I think you should definitely consider, obviously you should easy A him if you have him. But yeah, I wouldn't consider his easy A weak in any sense of the word. Now, obviously, this follows the standard Extreme Z battle, which is obviously there are 30 stages. And there's a couple missions, mainly for clearing stage 10 and 20 under certain time restraints, and also featuring a Power Absorption Category unit on your team. In terms of the Power Absorption Category, there's not a fantastic amount of free-to-play options that are viable. Realistically speaking, there's only the two, which is the Cell and the Arm from the Dragon Ball Super Heroes celebration. So we will be utilizing those. We'll also be utilizing Cell First Form with his lead. Just a friendly reminder that unfortunately the Easy A for Cell First Form is not out on Global, so we will have a bit of a disadvantage there. You could build a Android's team under Android 21 or Android 17. You could build a Android Cell Saga team. You could build a Transformation Boost team. You could build a All Martian team. There's plenty of ways to build out the teams for this event, so don't please feel like this is the only team you can use. This is actually a terrible team, and yeah, you can definitely use a way better just collection of units, realistically speaking. There's plenty of solid team builds you can make. Martian Power, Android, Artificial Life Form, Power Absorption, all fine. So there's plenty of variety builds that you can make. I just think that this team, especially under the 100% lead of First Form Cells, is very gimped. The leads for Power Absorption are AGL First Form Cell or Physical Super Boo, so use either of those if you have them. You then also have, of course, on JP side, the AGL Super Boo. But like I said, you can build an Android Cell Saga team. You can build a Android's team under Super 17, or alternatively you can just build a straight Martian Power team under a whole bunch of options. So there's enough kind of flexibility within the category to build a variety of teams that can suit you. So please rather do that. The only typing you should avoid is int typing. So yeah, beyond that you should be fine. Int cell should actually be avoided. Well, not really. He's so powerful it doesn't really matter too much, but yeah, you should somewhat avoid him if you can, just because he'll do reduced damage and take additional damage. But beyond that, extreme typings are going to be the best here. So yeah, that's really about it. In our team, everything was more than fine. There wasn't really any focal points. I would push the First Form Cell off rotation, especially as you get near the end. First Form Cell and Arm tend to take the most damage. Try and pair up the Strength Super Boo and the Physical Boo, and then also try to pair up the Android 21 and the Cell Second Form. But yeah, beyond that, that's basically the only guidelines. Just push arm and first form cell off rotation, you should be fine. You'll take some damage from super attacks, of course, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't really have any distinctive issues. Like, I mean, you shouldn't have such crazy issues that you can't even like run the game or anything, or you constantly get knocked out. I didn't lose or get defeated once, even on auto battle, so yeah, you should be more than fine. If you don't have cell first form, there's quite a few alternative leads you could use. Artificial life forms wise, there's quite a few, but I would suggest probably just using strength super boo, yeah, personally speaking. But yeah, beyond that, that is basically it when it comes to like team builds, variety, and etc. Personally speaking, I would refrain from using my team just because it is a bit gimped. The units I would drop is first form cell, replace them with an appropriate lead, and then everything else is actually honestly perfectly quite fine. And you can keep everything pretty much the same. I will be cutting the footage for stage 20 and 30 because they just took long. Like, they were just long. The team doesn't do a huge amount of damage. You end up relying on crits, and you just kind of heal back up every turn and then start again and heal back up and start again and heal back up. So yeah, just bear in mind this footage will be somewhat cut, but like I said, if you follow what I said before, you should be fine. Now, talking about Piccolo's EZA, if we just compare his base EZA or his base form to his second, you can see there's been some improvements. Firstly, 170% across the board lead. I think that's okay. I would have liked them to make him 180% lead for Namekians. I don't see a reason why they couldn't. Then he raises defense on his super, which is good, and he now has a chance to stun, which is interesting. He has Ki +2 and attack and defense of 140%. I think this is good. And he recovers, well, now he has an additional attack and defense of 40% when performing a super attack. He also has an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack when HP is 77% or above, and he will recover 7% HP when HP is 77% or less, and an additional 7% if you're below 40%. So he can recover 14% health per turn from his passive alone, and he will foresee enemy super attacks, which is really, really good. If you are below 70% HP and you have another Namekian category ally on the team, you can just transform. Now, his transformation also got a pretty nice upgrade, so he's got a high chance of stunning, which he kind of did before. He massively raises attack now, which is very interesting. He has Ki +3 and attack and defense of 150%, which is good. And then damage reduction, again, still of 40%. I think they were scared to kind of raise that up. He has an additional attack and defense of 50% when performing a super attack, and he now launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack when HP is 77% or more. He now has a critical hit chance of 10%, up to a max of 40%. The more HP remaining, the greater the boost, and he recovers 10% HP when HP is 77% or less. And then he recovers an additional 10% if 40% or less, while still foreseeing attacks. So it doesn't seem like he went through a lot. I mean, you know, he's gained like the built-in additionals, which is nice, which is really, really good for him. Obviously helps him out in terms of making him stack really fast, because he can now possibly fire 3 super attacks a turn. He does obviously now have the chance to stun in base, which is good. And his stats went up. I mean, he gained the Ki. The Ki, I think, is very important. Them giving him Ki because it helps out. He only had shocking speed, so him having Ki, very important. The Ki was, you know, quite crucial. So the Ki really worked out for him. The flat buffs don't look spectacular. 40% attack and defense doesn't sound like a lot, but when you also add in that he now has an additional attack and defense of 40% when firing a super, and 50% in the second form, this actually adds up quite a lot because it's multiplicative. And then, you know, on top of all of that, you also have to factor in the stats boost, and obviously his defense went up quite a bit. You know, we're talking like 18%, attack went up quite a bit, HP went up quite a bit. So you should see a better version of Piccolo. How much better that version is difficult to say, because look, I think we'll have to see him in trial outs. I think he's a good, I've always liked Piccolo as a unit, like just as a full disclaimer, I've always always liked Piccolo. I think he is a unit that is really, really good, and I think he does do a fantastic job, like a fantastic job of just being solid all around, like giving utility, good defense. The ability to see super attacks is indescribably good. Like, this is an ability that is insanely good. It can never be underestimated. So I think we have to always kind of factor that in when we evaluate Piccolo as a unit. Like, he completely changes the game when you're able to just see super attacks all the time, especially since you can link him with Tech Piccolo, who's an absolute defensive juggernaut. It starts to become a bit of a silly rotation. But we'll take a look and see how good he is. I think overall it's a really, really solid team that he can be a part of, and he's a great addition to it. You should definitely easy him, and even if you don't have him, you should do the Extreme Z battle, because you want the coins and stones and everything anyway. But yeah, that's basically it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Till then, bye.